This is Shine Valentine, back today again, new episode. In today's episode, I want to ask, why do some people judge others regarding their careers? Again, why do some people judge others regarding their careers? Now, this is a gray area, I know. There's many reasons why, but the reason I brought this up is because we know, and I think everyone has seen this, experienced it, or maybe even participated in it, where a person felt validated based upon their career, and they might have wanted to prove themselves to other people by saying, oh, well, excuse me, this is what I do for a living, and I make this amount of money, or I make good money. I actually had someone say this to me, tell me they made good money. They didn't tell me how much they made. I would love to have known the dollar amount since this person wanted to brag, but I've had someone tell me, oh, I made good money doing, I had someone actually tell me I made good money just sitting down and not, what did she say? Doing much. She said her job doesn't require a lot out of her. She has to actually force herself to stay awake, and she's making good money. Well, my thing was, good for you. That if that's the life that you want, fine. I don't think anyone wants to run themselves in the ground and make money, by no means. However, I'm more into passion-based careers, and so I enjoy doing YouTube videos, but YouTube isn't a career for me. Because I don't know, I'm just kind of a jack of all trades, so I like doing different stuff. So I never looked at, I just started making videos because I just wanted to make videos. I didn't have a game plan in place, and maybe if I take YouTube more seriously, maybe it could be sort of a career, I don't know. But I'm whenever I do a video, I definitely think about it first. Sometimes I might write notes, and my intentions are actually good. However, I put effort into it, but I don't really promote my videos and stuff like that. So I haven't really turned into a career. Maybe one day I would, I don't know. But so I don't rely on YouTube to like pay my bills and nothing like that at all, because I don't know how I would anyway. So I just do it for fun. But nonetheless, I'm more into passion-based careers. But you know, you have to do what you have to do to pay your bills, and so a lot of times people have to work a job they don't like, and then hopefully transition over to a career that they truly enjoy. But my thing about it is, I'm going to tell you an incident that I had. A lot of people go through this, where when you tell someone your career, they have this weird look on their face like they're not impressed. So this actually was regarding my father. I remember this one job I worked at. It was a startup business, and so I actually worked alongside the owners and the investors and everything. Basically, the owners and their wives came together and opened up this business, which was cool. So one of the owners, he actually was a nurse. He was changing careers into this business that they were in, that I was working for. And you know, he thought very highly of the fact that he used to be a nurse. Nothing wrong with that. So we were talking, and his wife was upset because her father had a massive heart attack. He survived, but it was just out of nowhere. He was up in age, and so after he got out of the hospital, his motor skills were off, and mentally he wasn't all the way there. And it kind of really upset her, as any daughter would be upset by that. And so the guy was telling me, yeah, my wife is really upset about her father, but he's well now. And he said, she's really used to him being really fast with his thinking, and he's really smart. And he said, he's a retired accountant. And when he said, he looked at me with this excited look on his face, as if expecting me to be excited too. So he didn't know the kind of person I am. I'm explaining to you the type of person I am in a minute. So he don't understand that kind of stuff doesn't impress me. A person's profession doesn't impress me. So when he said that he was a retired accountant, I just looked at him. I said, oh, okay. So he said, she's used to him being really mental, and so he was insinuating that accountants are smart. I guess I know they deal a lot with math, and they have to go to school. So okay. So then some kind of way I mentioned my father, because my father at the time was sick, and And he said, well, I said, yeah, my father is retired too. He's in his 70s. And he said, well, what was his profession? I said, oh, he's a retired truck driver. And you all should have seen the look on his face. Let's just say he wasn't impressed. He just had this, you know how they just have a blank look and they kind of look to the left. And it upset me at the moment when it happened. But when I thought about it, when I really thought about it, I looked at it from an objective standpoint, and it just had me thinking about people in general. Like, first of all, as far as my father, him being a retired truck driver, he enjoyed driving. He enjoyed it very much. That was his passion. And see, we don't get to tell someone else what their passion should be or what their dream career is because we don't think it lives up to our standards. Who the hell are you to tell somebody else? Excuse me, who the hell are you to tell someone else? What did I say? Tell somebody else. Who the hell are you to tell someone else what validates them or what their career should be or that their career isn't up to par? We need people on this planet doing all different positions. You have people who deal with work in the funeral home, deal with, dead bodies. You have people that deal with sanitation and the trash system. You have people that deal with, oh my God, gardening, growing food for everyone. It's just, God, I can't even get into it. It's just so many different professions out here. But people want to make it seem like what you do isn't good enough because, I guess maybe because you're not making six figures and really, my father, yes, he was a truck driver, but he could have basically owned his own truck driving business and made a lot of money. I ran into a guy who had his own truck driving business and he had a lot of money. So if he wanted to transition from a driver to an owner, he could have did that, made a lot of money. So it's not always, people like to go with titles and status. So accountant sounds good. First of all, when he said that his father-in-law was an accountant, it didn't impress me because, let me explain to you how I am. I don't get impressed by people's profession. I just don't. That doesn't move me. What moves me is if you're happy. Are you happy with what you do every day? Are you happy getting up in the morning and doing whatever you do? And can that cover your bills and you can live a decent lifestyle? And if it can't, let's figure out how you can take what you love and then turn that into income that can cover everything and much more. Let's see how you can live a good lifestyle while doing what you love. That's what I'm into. I'm not into, I'm the title of what I do. Oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. That sounds great, but I really don't care. I mean, that's what you want to go to school for. That's your profession. Are you happy? That's all that matters. People want to impress other people, but these people aren't going to be there for you when you're getting up every morning hating your life. These people aren't going to pay back these student loans for you, but you want to impress them. And so when he mentioned his father-in-law being an accountant, when I was in school, I was a work study student when I was in school, halfway during the time while I was in school to help pay bills. And one of the ladies I worked for was an accountant. She was a black woman. And I want to bring that she's a black woman because honestly, this is just me. I have not ran into, I think I've ran into two female female black accountants. So I'm bringing this up because I think how can I say this? Okay. Because I have not ran into a lot of black female accountants and let me say, I haven't ran into actually even one black man accountant. No, let me take that back. One guy I knew was going to school to be an accountant. He was a black guy. That was it. I have actually not in person met a black male accountant. And I'm saying this because I was under the impression that, being an accountant is such a big deal. And that's how I used to think when I was younger. So I worked under her and she was a straight, I'm not going to say the word. She was a jerk. She was not a very nice person. And I don't know how much money she made, but she made a comment to me and said that a lot of people in her family was asking her for money. And she says, look, I don't have any money. They need to stop asking me. So I guess and the black and certain parts of the black community, this is not the every black community in the world, but in certain parts, maybe I'm thinking the poorer parts. So if you have a majority black community that's poor, I don't think most people run into other blacks in that community that are like doctors and accountants, because yeah, if they were a doctor or accountant, they probably wouldn't be living in a poor environment, right? So by that being the case, when you do run with some black people, when they do run into a black person who could be a, you know, a doctor or accountant or engineer, and it's other professions. I know I keep saying doctor, lawyer, accountant. It's other professions. I'm just naming those that's kind of known off the top of the head. They assume this person has a lot of money, and it has, you know, saying there that when they say I'm a doctor, lawyer, accountant, it's supposed to hold so much weight. They don't hold weight to me. It doesn't. I don't care. I went to school. I have a bachelor's degree. I wrote a book. I do different things. I do a lot of different things. I'm back in school now. I mean, it's just, I'm about doing what makes you happy and not trying to impress other people. And really what I really blame for all of this, I blame the monetary system, because I think the real reason why people feel kind of less than because of their profession is mainly, I think a lot of times, the pay. It's the pay and yeah, what they're doing, but I think it's a combination of both, because I remember on Love and Hip Hop when Mimi and Jocelyn, if you all ever watched Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, which I don't watch that stuff anymore, but when I used to, they had a disagreement, and Jocelyn called Mimi Molly the maid. So now I know Mimi had a cleaning service, and I think it was making pretty good money from my understanding what it seems. So I noticed that Mimi, after that, she didn't want to have a maid service anymore. And I think it's because that statement hurt her feelings. And so my thing was, okay, Jocelyn, you was a stripper, and it sounded to me that she wanted to become a rapper because she didn't want to strip anymore. So if being a stripper was so great, then why was you trying to get out of that profession? So you want to shame her for having a cleaning service, making good money, but no one can make you feel bad about taking off your clothes for money. And let's talk about that too real quickly. I am not against look, I don't look down on someone for being a stripper. This is the thing. Someone asked me in my comment section, would I date a male stripper? And I told him no. And I know someone said, well, you know, I shouldn't judge, and why. I'm gonna explain to you why. I think I don't like dating someone that's super hypersexual. I think most men are very sexual anyway. So I'm trying to just keep up with a man who because men to me naturally have a high sex drive, and when you take a guy who is into watching a lot of pornography, who potentially picks up prostitutes, and who loves spending money on strippers, I feel that's an extra dynamic. I prefer dating a guy who has a little bit more control over his sex drive, and who at the very least doesn't have extreme desires to go to strip clubs. Now, you might say that, well, going to a strip club and taking your clothes off is different. Okay, so let's talk about the male strippers. So it's levels to this. So you have, you know, men who go to strip clubs and spend their money. Then you have the men who actually take off their clothes there. I don't even like to date men who, if I find out a guy, if I was single and I found out a guy goes to strip clubs regularly, I would not date him. I'm sorry. I don't feel, because it's no way you can see these beautiful women taking off their clothes and you're willing to give them money. First of all, I'm gonna be upset because you're supposed to be giving me that money. Okay, why are you paying her to get naked when you could just pay me to get naked and we're about to have intercourse? So you can just hand that money right on over to me. Okay, so right there, I don't want to date it. Of course, he'd be doing it behind my back. I said if I find out. Now, what he does behind my back, if I didn't find out, there's nothing I can do about it. But if I find out that he goes to strip clubs regularly, no, I'm not gonna like that. Because then I'm gonna start trying to go to some, and he gonna see how it feels. Okay, so I don't like dating men anyway that like to go to strip clubs regularly. And I say regularly, I mean like every week. I don't like guys that do that. Sometimes you don't know, but if I find out, then no, we can't date. So if I don't like guys that go to strip clubs regularly, a man who's actually a stripper, he non-negotiable. I would not date him, and here's why. To me, I feel as if he's probably hypersexual. And what I mean, most men have a high sex drive, but I think with male strippers, I think their sex drive is even higher. I think their sex drive is super high. And it's also a thing with me where I don't want to date a guy where other women can go to his place of employment and see him naked. That's another thing. I think that he has a super high sex drive. I could be totally wrong. And because of that, that's a turnoff to me. Men already have a high one, and I'm trying to keep up with one dude, and he has a high one. So if his sex drive is even higher to the point where he enjoys getting on stage, taking off his clothes, and doing, it's just too much for me. I feel like his sex drive is a little bit too high. Now, let's say that his sex drive isn't super high, that he just enjoys doing that for a living. He enjoys dancing. He has a great physique. That's still not acceptable to me as far as dating him, because other women can go to see him naked. So if I have female friends, if they wanted to go see my boyfriend naked, they can go to his place of employment and throw money at him. Also, I feel that environment is too much temptation for him. So if he's there and there's attractive women, then he's going to turn them down. So he's going to, if they proposition him, and if a woman comes in there and she's decent looking, she says, "I'll give you $300 to have sex with me tonight," he's not going to do it. I mean, men already like sex. Now you're actually going to pay them to have sex? Why would I? No. So I'm saying, for me, I want to date a stripper. Now, female strippers, that's different. I don't know anything about how a man feels about female strippers. I'm not against stripping, because why I'm not against stripping is because it's a profession, a legal profession. So until we change the society and make it illegal, as long as it's legal to strip, take off your clothes for money, people are going to do it. So instead of people getting mad at the strippers and all that, let's look at the society and change it to where we get rid of strip clubs and also pornography, all of that. We just want to get mad and attack the strippers. Let's just look at the society. People need money. Okay. Is there enough jobs to go around for everybody? I don't think so. I really don't think it is. Okay. People need money. A lot of computers are taking over people's jobs. Me and my dad was talking about that the other day. So people need money. Okay. And you have this profession where if you're attractive, you have a nice body, people will come watch you take your clothes off and throw money at you, and it's legal. You're not going to go to jail for it. What? Some people are going to do it. So to try to look down on them, let's look down at ourselves as a society, that we have made strip clubs legal, because understand at one point they did not exist and they were created, and people and it was a demand for it. Let's talk about the people who love going to strip clubs, but I'm not even gonna go there. So yeah, so I'm not looking down on a person's profession. I'm saying that I don't look down on anyone's profession. However, I have a right to say if I wouldn't date them because of what they do. I have a right to say that. And I would give legitimate reasons. It's not because I'm discriminating. It's just because the kind of woman I am. I don't want anyone to say they can go to my significant other's place of business and see them naked and then possibly proposition them. And I don't even know what happened. I'm not okay with that. So if a guy says he doesn't want to date a stripper because of very reasons I gave, that, he doesn't want to date a woman who is in a very sexual environment, a place where his friends can come see her naked, a place where she could possibly be propositioned for sex, and she might give into it. I perfectly understand what he's saying, but it goes the same for male strippers. That's why I would not date him either. And he might not have a super high sex drive, but I just think men naturally have a high sex drive. And I think a guy that's stripping in that environment, I think his sex drive is probably hyper, like even higher than the normal sex drive. But I could be wrong. So let's just pretend like his sex drive is like the normal guys or whatever. It's not even, because I think male strippers' sex drive is probably, like I said, higher than the average man's sex drive. Just being in that environment, I don't know. I could be wrong. So let's just take that off the table. I just don't want to date someone who's in an environment where they could get propositioned regularly to be paid for sex. So open up the door of cheating on me multiple times, and also a place where any woman that I know can go to my significant other's place of employment and see them take their clothes off and see my significant other naked. Okay, I'm not with that at all. So I know I would never date a stripper. Not because I look down on them. It's just because of what the profession consists of and the temptation and people seeing them naked and all that. No, I can't do it. So I just want to know, why do people judge other people's professions and look down on them because of it and make it sound like their profession isn't good enough? Are you going to pay their bills? Are you going to make sure they're taken care of? If not, then why are you worried about it? And like I said with my father, when that guy had that weird look on his face when I said my father was a retired truck driver, okay, I understand he feels a truck driver isn't a glamorous job, but accountant isn't either. The only reason why he felt being an accountant was such a big deal is because, you know, he knows that most accountants make more money than I'm assuming a truck driver. Okay, so a lot of times this judgment comes from pay, and I think I got off topic about one thing: the pay. We as a society pay certain professions more than others, and so this creates an issue. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be like that. I don't want to get into should we not, but it's interesting that we pay people who entertain us a lot of money, singers, dancers, people who play sports, but yet a teacher who's in the school with people's children, teaching them for hours a day, they don't get paid quite that much. But however, if you say you're a teacher, people still, I will say though, if someone says they're a teacher, people do think highly of that profession though. I will say that. People, when I heard a lady say that her daughter, she told us that her daughter was a teacher, and you should just hear the pride in her voice. But generally speaking, teachers are not millionaires and nothing like that. But we pay certain professions more than others, and so this creates this, oh well, your profession is not as good as mine because I make more than you, and people trying to prove themselves. I don't have nothing to prove to anybody. Okay. Because I'm gonna do what I want to do, what makes me happy, and I don't have, like I said, and I don't know if I mentioned this in this video, but the reason also why this is very silly to me is because we all have different goals, we all have different desires and passions. So, and I said there's another video, one person might want to be an astronaut, another person might want to be an engineer or a lawyer. Let's say one person want to be a painter, another person want to be an astronaut. Okay, so is the painter supposed to feel like the astronaut is a loser and didn't accomplish anything? Or is the astronaut supposed to feel like the painter is a loser and didn't accomplish anything just because they have two definitions of what success is or what an accomplishment is? We all have different things, different interest base. So to put your standard on someone else is not fair, or for them to put their standard on you. Do what makes you happy. Don't let anybody shame you into not liking your career. I don't care. I knew a lady on YouTube that actually said one of her passions was to be a great waitress. Now most people probably would say they like being a waitress, but they probably wouldn't say that was like